Andre starting, same lineup. Heiskanen getting closer. That's about it.
Was there, you did a little bit of power play time different this morning?
Yeah, we're incorporating him more and more into things. He's looking more and more comfortable. So, yeah, I would say he's getting closer for sure.
How do you brace for the emotional lift that maybe EMS guy might provide in the arena? Or how do you, you say, hey, we got to just temper that storm? And then...
Yeah, I think, listen, they're going to come out like they always do in this building first playoff game. So, is Landeskog back in the lineup going to amp that up another notch? It might. We've got to get through the first 10 minutes in here. That's always the case, no matter what. So, that's what we're focusing on.
Couldn't help but notice you had a quick upbeat chat with Mikko.
Yeah.
Can you share anything with us?
No.
Can you, in broad terms, talk about what his approach should be tonight?
Yeah. You know what? Just stick with it. I thought he did a lot of really good things last game. I think he's close to breaking out here.
Speaking of those games, you split 1 and 2 at home. What's the message to the group going into 30 here?
Yeah, you know what? There's a lot of familiarity, obviously with the two teams, us playing in here. We've won in here before. We know it's not easy. We know the environment. So it's just business as usual. I mean, for me, we were better in game 2 than we were in game 1, and we got to build on that and make sure we're better in game 3 than we were in 2.
Can you empathize with Mikko? I mean, he's the greatest player in this franchise's history here in Colorado. And yes, he came back in the regular season, but it's a different deal.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the fact that he's been here in the regular season, I really think that I think he's glad. I think we're all glad that that's in the rearview mirror. I think that was a really emotional return, really raw. I also think, every time you come back, it's a little bit easier. So, we got through that one. I believe him when he says this is business as usual now. I think we're, that other piece, we got through that in the regular season when he came back here.
You spent years scouting against Mikko. How's his, I guess, the perception that side of him? How's it been getting in the room and adjusting to your system? How's that?
Yeah. Well, he's great. He's great. He's a great pro. His preparation is really impressive, both before, after games. Great role model for young guys on how to prepare to play. There's always an adjustment, new systems, new coaches, new line mates. I've talked about this. He played with the same guy for 9 or 10 years, and worked off him, and they had a great chemistry. And when you don't have that anymore, it's like going to the Four Nations. I've coached international tournaments, and it sounds easy on paper. Oh, just put Crosby, McDavid, and McKinnon together, and should be a great line. Well, it never works that way ever. So it shouldn't be a surprise that there's some transition.
Four Nations.
Yeah.
How do you think that helped Harley? And now, like with Miro out, he's overdrive skewed at 30 plus.
Yeah. I think. Well, one, it was the best thing I think ever happened to him and our team. I remember going in, and he was on the bubble, and he actually went into the Four Nations break. I thought he was just playing okay. He looked a little worn down. So I thought, maybe it's for the best. You get a break here and take a couple weeks off. And then when he got called in, and with the way he performed, it was almost like a switch flipped within him. Like, hey, I can play at this level with these guys and be effective. And when he came back, I mean, he was at a different level. His game went to a whole different level. It was like the league really slowed down for him, and he had a great confidence to his game. And honestly, with Miro out, if he doesn't fill that hole with the level of play he did, we might not be sitting here.
You mentioned McKinnon, and obviously you got to be part of the coaching staff with him in the Four Nations.
Yeah.
Second year in a row, you're
Yeah.
shift. And I feel like that's the thing with McKinnon.
Yeah.
Your guys are aware, you have a game plan, but what's it like?
Yeah.
There's just that moment.
Well, yeah, and you know what? It's not just McKinnon. Makar has that ability too. So you know that going in. I wish it was the second year in a row. I think it's probably. It feels like 4 of the last 5 years we played these guys. I mean, played them in San Jose in the playoffs when I was there. 7 games, Vegas. Now 2 here in Dallas. So it's 4 at least in the last 6 or 7 years. So. We've seen an awful lot of these guys, and I mean, you have to know your awareness has to be at its height every time you're on the ice against them, and it has to be everyone on your team because if you let your guard down for a second, those guys can expose you.
How hard is it to prepare for a guy that hasn't played in 3 years?
Yeah, I mean, you know, listen, we're not preparing specifically for Gabe Landeskog. We're preparing for the Colorado Avalanche, and if he's in the lineup, if he isn't in the lineup, we'll that doesn't change our preparation.
Coach, it seems like whether we talk to players on your side, players on their side, Jared Bednar, there's so much respect between these 2 teams. Does that just come from playing against each other so many times in high stakes games?
Yeah, I think so. I think when you played an opponent that many times, that many tough games, I think it's natural. There's mutual respect there.
Can play all styles of hockey basically, so it's good. We gotta try to get more inside on them and maybe a little bit more in the net front.
What's your anticipation like for this? I know you had the regular season game, but this is a different deal, as you know.
Yeah, it is. It's obviously I've played a lot of playoff games here as a home team, and it's the crowd is really good here. So we gotta try to manage the crowd. Not stay out of the box. I think that's one thing, and try to play 5-on-5 and play simple road hockey and try to get a result.
Your buddy Gabe could make his return tonight, just as a friend and a guy who knows him well. How good is that for hockey?
It's great, as a friend, I'm very happy for him, and I was happy to see him play a couple of games in the AHL, and well deserved because the journey he's been through, I don't think anybody else, at least in hockey, has gone through what he's gone through. So it's remarkable he's coming back, if he's coming back, and as a friend, but as a opponent, obviously no mercy.
I had asked you at one point in time when you were playing with the Avalanche what it was like feeding off the energy of being in an opposing building. Is that how you're going to kind of take tonight, especially if Gabe does play?
Yeah, I would expect if he's going to play, it's going to be even louder when he hits the ice, or he's probably going to start the game if he plays. That's what usually happens. So yeah, like I said, the first period is important. We gotta manage the puck well. No turnovers and just play, like I said, simple road hockey and make it boring.
Nice to get a couple days back here in Denver.
Yeah, it's always. I had a good times here, and it's a great city. So got 2 days in between games, so that's also nice to get a couple days to rest before the game 4. So it's nice.
So couldn't help but notice Pete give you a little chat before the skate. What do you have to tell you?
Yeah, just no frustration. Just keep working and stay with it. It's one of those. You can't, this time of the year, you can't get too frustrated because the games are tight. There's not a lot of room out there, especially 5-on-5. It's hard to create sometimes, because both teams defend very well. As we've seen in this series, a lot of power play goals already. Both teams have had in both games, so that's going to be a big factor because 5-on-5 there's not much room out there. So, but you got to try to create, and like I mentioned, try to get inside, go net front. That's where, if you look at playoff goals, that's where they usually scored, is in front of the net.
When Brett Hull was here, he said he felt that weight of being brought in as a guy to help the team. Do you feel that at all? Is it different when you're a new guy than when you were in Colorado?
Well, I think it's different, yeah, especially this early. It's obviously played a long time in one place and you're comfortable with everything kind of in the city and everything, and then now you're in a new place. But it's different. I also understand if Hall felt that way. It's totally understandable. And yeah, but just try to help the team as best as I can. And if it's not offensively, then defend well and try to help the team win. That's all that matters.
On the road, get the amount of rest you need. It's kind of, I've always enjoyed it. Obviously, you got to come into a hostile environment, but sometimes that brings you together as a team a little more. So this is obviously a tough building to play in. You got the altitude to worry about, but we'll draw on some. Hopefully, we can draw on some of the confidence from last year coming in here. So, yeah, you don't really overthink it too much. Just go play your game.
Well, sorry, when you win a game in the way you did, where you stole momentum and got out in overtime, is there any carryover?
I don't know. It's a good question. I think every game's its own thing, but I think we didn't like our first period, but after that, I think it was, the second was probably pretty even, and then after that, I thought we kind of took over and imposed ourselves on them, and we obviously got rewarded. So, at the end of the day, I think we're just looking forward. You can't, you look back at what you've learned from the games, and then, you look forward. It's always a new one coming up.
As someone who, there's a good chance that Gabe makes return tonight. As someone who's been around and knows him pretty well, just from a human side, how big is that to see a guy come back after 3 years?
No, I'm thrilled. I think that's so much bigger than hockey in this series. He's a guy that, he was up at my cottage right after he had the surgery and showing me the pictures of before and after, all that stuff, and I feel like I've been paying attention to it, for a few years now, and obviously as a guy, we have good friendship with our families, are good friends, and we've been rooting for him to come back, and obviously it makes our job harder having a guy like that out there, but on the side of the friend side and just like you said, the human side and the fellow athlete side, I think everyone's happy to see the progress he's made. Hopefully he's got a lot of runway left. Hopefully it's not one of those things where it acts back up. So. But yeah, for me, I look at two separate things. You obviously got to compete against him, and when you go out there, he's just another player. But on the other side of things, it's great. I'm just really happy that he's gotten to this point.
Is this your favorite road building to play in?
I don't know if I'd say that, but no, it's just a great challenge competing against these guys. It's I think we've developed a really good rivalry, and this is my third playoff series in here, and the first one didn't go how I wanted, the second one did, and we'll see what happens here. So I honestly, I'm just worried about, as you get older, you start to worry about, what's right in front of you a little bit more, and the process, and taking, one step ahead, and so that's so big in playoffs, just take it day by day and minute by minute. So that's kind of, what I'm looking at.
It's so important for Mikko to have that previous trip here, and is the playoffs a different animal?
You have to ask him. I think everyone deals with it differently. I know he wants to win, regardless who we're playing. But yeah, it's always your first team you play for, especially if you play as long as we both did here. It always means a little bit more coming back, and there's always some emotion. I wouldn't expect anything different on his side, but yeah, you'd have to ask him that. I guess everyone's got their own unique experience.
Obviously, the fourth line had a huge goal last game. We've talked so much about it. When you can bring that energy, what does it mean? And it just seems like a very important role for you guys.
Yeah, I think especially in playoffs now, it's gonna be a long series. So what we do with putting pucks in and go hard on the forecheck, it's over 7 games. It shows for sure. So that's what we want to do. That's our identity, and we want to keep doing that. And of course, Blackie's goal, huge, was just a bonus on top of that.
How important is it for you guys to get a goal, especially a goal like that? It just seems like that reinforces everything you're doing.
Yeah, exactly. It's great for the team, and it's great for us too. It feels
when you see it, it's probably just as good for you as it is for him.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's so happy for the guy, being out the first game too, and then coming in and being able to do that. That's huge, and also for us as a line, and showing we can get rewarded for just playing the simple hockey, putting the pucks in, and and working down low, you know, it's big for our confidence too.
2 games into the playoffs, how different is it than the regular season?
It is. It's
feel it?
higher intensity. Every check is finished. You know, everyone tries all out to get in the shooting lanes, and all small details matter. And it's just one more level than regular season.
And then the emotion of it all. It just seems like
Of
being
course.
able to handle it in your head is a little bit different.
Like now coming off the last game, getting into bed at like 3 at night, not getting the best sleep, and having travel the day after, and now we gotta prepare for another game. You know, it's nothing perfect, but you just gotta, if you're there mentally, you know, you make it work.